Hey guys, Will here. Now a few days ago there was the Apple Spring Load event which had a lot of hype surrounding it, and honestly it didn't disappoint. This video will be me summarising the most important announcements and my reactions and thoughts surrounding each one. April 20th was the date of the event, and I found from watching previous Apple events that the cinematography is always amazing. Lots of seamless transitions and product showcase sequences that make it worth watching for this reason alone. My favourite would have to have been the guy disappearing into the couch to locate his AirTag. Great stuff. But anyway, the four major product announcements were AirTags, Apple TV 4K, M1 iMacs, and M1 iPad Pros. Everything will be timestamped if you want to jump ahead down below. Starting with AirTags, which are basically small tracking devices to attach to your gear so that if you lose it, you can easily find it using iPhone's Find My network. So they're a small circular tag which connects to your iPhone and uses the Find My network so you can locate them wherever they might end up. If you're using an iPhone 11 or 12, the U1 chip inside will connect with the AirTag once within Bluetooth range, literally giving you directions similar to how you would use a navigation app to locate it easily. Internally is a speaker which plays an audible tone to help you locate them nearby. Locating them will be easiest though by using the Find My app on iPhone or Mac. AirTags I think is an exciting addition because of how well the Find My network has served users in the past who've lost devices. The way these will work is if you're an iPhone user and walk past an AirTag, it'll ping the AirTag itself and update its location info to the Find My network, making it really easy to find any lost devices with one of these attached. And it's not just limited to Apple devices, you can attach it to pretty well any personal item that you want. They cost 45 Australian dollars for one or 149 for a 4-pack. I think these are a better option for iPhone users than a third-party location tracker such as Tile, because they're already in the Apple ecosystem, and so you know that the design and software is going to be better all around. So it weighs almost nothing at only 11 grams and is 32 millimeters in diameter and is a very slim 8 millimeters thick. Compared to a Tile, they're circular instead of square and smaller in diameter. The accessory loops that hold these tags come in a range of colors, which makes the customization process a little more exciting, and they are made from metal, so the option's there to get an engraving of your favorite emoji or some initials instead. An important question is what exactly you'd attach them to if you end up getting a 4-pack. For me, I think one would have to go on the camera bag, one for my dog's collar, another would probably definitely go on the GoPro, that thing's tiny and very easily lost, and lastly, probably just one for the keys. A funny one I came across was maybe perhaps giving one to your spouse. But yeah, let me know down in the comments where you'd attach yours to, right next to the like button. There's a French luxury goods accessory for these as well, made by the company Hermes, but it's kind of pricey, at 9 times the original cost of a standard keyring, or 11 times the original cost if you opt for the luggage tag accessory. The specs also list an internal replaceable battery that can be replaced by the user. It's just a standard button battery, the CR2032 type, which is found in heart rate monitors, measuring tools, and even some watches. When the battery's getting low as well, it'll give you a notification on your iPhone so you don't get caught out. I'll be sure to order a 4-pack of these when they become made available. Ordering starts today if you're in Australia at 10 PM on the 23rd of April, and they become available on the 30th. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to do so to catch a video on these ones so I can test them out and show you guys what they're really like. Next up is the new Apple TV 4K. In the new system, they've included the A12 Bionic chip for improved performance. There's a new Siri remote with a notable side button to activate Siri, and directional arrows and touch-enabled clickpad to navigate through Apple TV. They've also made it so you can calibrate your TV picture to be able to enjoy a more color-accurate viewing experience by using an app on the iPhone, which is kind of crazy, considering that sort of tech usually is a standalone product, but now it's available for free just using your iPhone. The third major announcement was the newly completely redesigned iMacs. The whole colourful theme of Spring Loaded was preparing us for this new lineup of iMacs, which is very nostalgic of the cultural phenomenon that was the iMac G3 back in '98. The colourful iMacs are back. It's 2021 and they're very vibrant 7 different colours: blue, green, pink, silver, yellow, orange, and purple. So as you can probably tell, the new redesign is all about size reduction. They've managed to fit all of the internals into a much smaller, thinner frame, but at the same time completely up the performance, and they've managed to do that technically. It's crazy thin at just 11.5 millimeters thick, and just for reference, it's the same thickness as this Lamy pen. The overall weight is 4.5 kg or 10 pounds with a squared off design and has that familiar tilt adjustable hinge on the back. Thankfully, they kept the headphone jack. They've moved it to the side of the display, which makes it a lot easier to locate than previous generations. The screen is a 24-inch 4.5K Retina display, which is 4480 by 2280, that has 500 nits of brightness surrounded with these white bezels. The chin has stuck around with no Apple logo this time, however it is on the back of the body. Color-wise, it has a two-tone look, with the sides of the Mac being slightly different color to the main color of the chin and stand. So the purple iMac will have a darker purple body and sides, and a lighter, almost violet color purple stand, as well as the Apple logo on the back of the iMac. Performance-wise, the internals are completely different, with a much smaller logic board made possible with the newer M1 chip, which was introduced with the Mac Mini, MacBook Air, and MacBook Pro earlier in the year. They've also included a new camera inside the iMac, with a 1080p FaceTime HD camera, with improvements in image quality through the M1 chip's image signal processor. It also has improved speakers as well, with support for spatial audio when playing video with Dolby Atmos. The internal microphone is a 3 microarray with direction beamforming, which means it should do a great job at cancelling out unwanted noise around you and only picking up your voice. Apple also showed us what's inside the iMac, and just look at it. There's a logic board, speakers along the bottom inside that chin, and then the rest is just thermals and cables. In case you're wondering if the keyboard and mouse or trackpad have matching colors, they sure do. And the new Magic Keyboard has a Touch ID fingerprint reader in the corner, and this makes purchases using Apple Pay or unlocking your iMac fast and secure. There's the option to have a numeric keypad type keyboard as well, but I much prefer one without it. There's no doubt that the new iMac has leading technical specs compared to its predecessor. It's quite a feat that they were able to fit all the computer's components in such a small, thin profile, making full use of that newer M1 chip and system-on-a-chip architecture. Speaking of which, if you're using the newer iPhones and iPad Pros, you can run the mobile apps on this newer iMac, which means you don't mess with your workflow too much, which is really nice. So upon first impressions, some people are not a fan of the overall look of the iMac, but I don't mind it. It's definitely much different to the 27-inch iMac, for example, that we're used to seeing. But until people are actually sitting down in front of it and using it, I think it'll be hard to jump to conclusions on just how good or bad the design is. It's pretty common to see something on a screen and be quick to judge, but then later grow to actually enjoy the design. The AirPods Max, I think, is a good example of this. So onto the final big announcement now, that's the M1 powered iPad Pros, which have had their processing power and speed upgraded. For users that do a lot of processor heavy work, this was probably welcomed, but for everyone else that's been using the 4th gen iPad Pro, I'm not quite sure they thought they needed a speed increase. At least I think that's the general consensus. The design is very familiar to what you're used to seeing with a super thin profile and metal design. The maximum storage has been increased to 2 terabytes up from 1 terabyte from the 4th gen iPad Pro, which is a huge amount for a tablet. The newer M1 chip integration means the USB-C port is now Thunderbolt and USB 4 capable for high data transfer speeds, and the cellular capabilities have been upgraded to 5G for a much quicker internet speed. So the screen upgrade that the larger 12.9-inch iPad Pro is receiving is now an XDR display. So if you've ever seen one of those, that's pretty exciting. If you do own an XDR display, you'll be able to recreate that same image or model on the iPad Pro without getting any loss of image quality. The screen now uses mini LEDs instead of regular size ones, so it'll be interesting to make the comparison between the two to just see how much difference there really is. So the XDR display will have 1600 nits of max brightness in HDR, and they got to that level by using 10,000 of those mini LEDs. And if you compare that with the previous iPad Pro, it only had 72 LEDs. It's a massive jump. It will support the full P3 color gamut and has a 120Hz refresh rate. This should make it especially good for editing photos, videos, doing design work, and even watching video content too. How the battery will hold up with all this is still yet to be seen, but on the Apple website it does state that it's going to last up to 10 hours, so all day long, which is the same as the Gen 4 iPad Pro. Also, the front-facing camera is now a 12 megapixel ultra-wide compared to a 7 megapixel on the previous generation, and you can now take video up to 30 frames per second with extended dynamic range. This gives you a little bit more creative freedom with the colors of the video in post-editing. I think Apple is definitely leaps and bounds ahead of any other tech company when it comes to the tablet market. It's good to see them still pushing new innovation though, despite their massive lead in the industry. To finish up, there was also a color purple iPhone 12 announced, which to be honest, looks pretty amazing. So yeah, that's the main things covered in the event, my thoughts and opinions on them. Make sure to let me know down in the comments if you guys watch the event. I look forward to getting my hands on those new AirTags and giving you guys a review on those. Make sure to subscribe to see that video and maybe even hit the notification bell. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.